Welcome back to the Black Evolution, ladies and gentlemen. Our very special guest, Kidd Robinson, and we'll talk about one topic. That is Joe Biden and what are he gonna do for black people. Let's get into it. Hey, hey. All right. So, as I said before, I have a very special guest on the show, Mr. Tyler, Kidd Klutch Robinson. How you doing, young brother?
I'm doing good, Daniel. I'm feeling good. I'm living good, Daniel. How you doing, my brother?
Good, brother. So let's get into it, man. We're gonna talk about the inauguration. Joe Biden has just been elected as the new 46th president of the United States of America. First impressions, how do you feel the inauguration was, brother?
I think it went well. And it's funny that the inauguration falls on my birthday every 4 years. So and this one was special. This is one of the special ones for me because we already know how I feel about Trump. I can't stand the guy. So it was good for me, and it was good for me because we have the first black female vice president.
Yes,
so
yes.
That really put the icing on the cake for me.
Yep.
So I'm glad. So.
Yeah, I was glad to see that. Congratulations to Mr. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I'm glad that they became, president and vice president respectively. But now we're going to get into it. Now that they are in office, what do you feel that they're going to do for the people of America and specifically for black people? Because let's not forget, black people put him in power. And now he has to fulfill his promises that he said he was going to do.
Well, I'm not a genie. I don't know what they're gonna do, but here's what I suggest is whatever we have on that list, I think they need to evaluate within our best interests and start on that. Like, first of all, we need to get this student debt eliminated, and we need to get these police reform, and we need to get COVID under control. We need to also get the Emmett Till anti-lynching bill passed, and we need to get the George Floyd Policing Act bill passed.
I agree with you.
This is just the first year, I think.
Yeah.
Started.
Now I'm gonna put my faith in Joe Biden because I know that I'm gonna hold him accountable, hold him to the fire. That he had better pass, Emmett Till, George Floyd, police reform bills, all these bills. But at the end of the day, get that passed, get COVID-19 under control. But let's see what he does in his first 100 days in office. Give him a shot. Give him a chance. Let's see what he does. And if we don't like the results, we're going to demand and pressure him, saying you will do this. Because we're not being silent.
I always say the first 100 days of a president's term is the most important.
Mm-hmm.
Their first 100 days determines how their legacy will be and basically how they will approach issues.
Yep.
And how effective they'll be. I think I do have confidence in him because he was a lifelong senator, so he has a lot of relationships in Washington. He knows how to get things done.
Mm-hmm.
I have faith in the vice president because she was a prominent senator before she became the vice president. So we're gonna give him a chance.
Yep.
But we can also, like you said, gotta hold him accountable.
Yep.
Not doing right. It's a perfect example. I'm not a fan of his attorney general pick, but I got to give the attorney general a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Because I personally wanted a black person that had a record on civil rights.
Yep.
But we got to give administration a chance.
Yep. Now, when it comes to Joe Biden, you have some detractors who are critical of him. They say he's Jim Crow Joe because he did the 94 crime bill and he locked black people up. And as well, they call Kamala Harris saying that she ain't black, she's Indian, and all sorts of nonsense. How do you feel on Joe Biden's detractors, Tyler?
I think from the campaign when they was doing it, I think it was a legitimate question for them on that. But I felt he explained everything that happened and why he did this and that and why he did that. I think what we need to do is, he's the president, we need to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I feel with Donald Trump. I'm not comparing him to Donald Trump, but when Donald Trump got in, I was mad that he got in there, but people kept on saying, let's give the new president a chance. And I said, I agree with you. Let's give him a chance. Let's give this one a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Also, with the 94 crime bill, we got to make sure he doesn't do another one, or anybody in Congress doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of things that went on the past few weeks that we really got to make sure it never happens again.
Mm-hmm.
Like the storming of the Capitol. We have to make sure that white supremacists or domestic terrorists are held accountable.
Yep.
As if they were foreign Islamic terrorists.
Yep. You can't treat them different. Terrorism is terrorism.
Yep.
There's no shade or color. No qualms about it. It's terrorism. Held them accountable and prosecuted.
And also too, I don't like mentioning his name anymore because he's not in office anymore. But Donald Trump has to be held accountable for his role in it.
Mm-hmm.
He has to be held accountable for the lives, that 400,000 lives that were lost under his leadership from the pandemic. Because a lot of those lives was black people. And I also had a personal experience because one of my family, my cousins, died early on in the pandemic from COVID. And then also one of my neighbors, grandson is a real close friend of mine. Her brother actually died from COVID last month, and I just found out. So this is not something that people can sit here and say it's not real. It hit close to me. And I know people that had COVID in my family. So this is something that really has to get done because black people, we not understand. We're disproportionately getting COVID and dying from it. Mm-hmm. We have to take this shit serious. We got to cut down on these. We need to stop the partying right now. Cut down on the gatherings. We need to wear these masks. Mm-hmm. And get this stuff, take the vaccines, get the stuff under control, be about our business, and get in control. Yeah. Because if his whole presidency is shaped off of COVID, we're not getting the damn thing. Uh-huh. We need to get this stuff out of the way. We need to get this Donald out of the way. Yep. Get Donald Trump out of the way, get COVID under control and everything. And also not to say, also I was going to say this, not to say that, black people don't matter and this and that. No, we do matter. That's why we're saying Black Lives Matter and everything else, but get everything under control so that we can be allowed to, we're the ones being affected most with COVID and everything because we'll just push all these pre-existing conditions such as high blood pressure, and everything else. So we're being affected more. So what we need to do is get it under control, wear our mask and everything else wherever you go. Don't forget, if you don't have one mask, go get 2 masks, get 3 masks just in case. Keep them all in your pocket and everything, and just get it under control. Now, and go ahead. I also say too, what people keep saying, well, who cares? You better care because I always say this: when white people get a cold, black people get pneumonia. So when they getting infected, it's gonna hurt us more. Mm-hmm. We keep saying, well, who cares? These white people and stuff. Why they taking the vaccine and stuff? We need the vaccine more because we're more likely to die from it. Yep. We're more likely to get it. Yeah, speaking of black people, there was an audio recording of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris talking to civil rights leaders, meeting with them and discussing what Joe Biden is going to do when it comes to police brutality and police reform. Now, I have the audio clip that I'm going to include in this podcast. So, first, we're going to watch the audio clip, and then we will come back and discuss our reaction to what Joe Biden is going to do when it comes in terms of police brutality and when it comes to civil rights leaders. So, we're going to come back in a jiffy. We're going to stay evolutionary and stay organized. We'll be right back.
And so there's some things that I'm going to be able to do by executive order. I'm not going to hesitate to do it. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to do what used to, Benita, you probably used to get angry with me during the debates when you'd have some of the people you were supporting said, on day one, I'm going to executive order to do this. Not within the constitutional authority. I am not going to violate the Constitution. Executive authority that my progressive friends talk about is way beyond the bounds. And as one of you said, maybe you, Reverend Al, whether it's far left or far right, there is a Constitution. It's our only hope, our only hope. And the way to deal with it is where I have executive authority, I will use it to undo every single damn thing this guy has done by executive authority. But I'm not going to exercise executive authority where it's questioned, where I can come along and say, I can do away with assault weapons. There's no executive authority to do away with that. And no one's fought harder to get rid of assault weapons than me. Me. But you can't do it by executive order. If you do that, next guy comes along and says, well, guess what? By executive order, I'm going to say everybody can own machine guns again.
Hey guys, welcome back. We are back. The Black Evolutionary is here. So after seeing that clip of Joe Biden explaining what he can't do and what he can do with executive orders and everything, Tyler, what's your initial reaction to that, brother?
Well, my initial reaction to that is I do agree with what he said on executive orders. He doesn't want to set the precedent for the future presidents to do whatever they want with executive orders as far as like passing legislation. I get that standpoint, but I think he needs to fight harder, and he has to do things that normal presidents have never done. Because his predecessor has shown that the powers of the presidency are more powerful than we think. He's expanded it now.
Mm-hmm.
So he set the precedent. So there's certain things he's not going to be able to act like a normal president. You're a transitional candidate. Transitional president, I mean. So whatever you do right now determines what will go on in the next 50 years. So you have a responsibility to the people that put you in office to get that stuff done. I understand you don't want, as far as you said, you don't want to break the law or do that. Yes, I'm not telling you that. Don't break the law. But you need to be in the Senate fighting hard as hell with the senators to get this stuff passed.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you.
Give it your all.
I agree with you on that. And also, I want to say this about the when it comes to our struggle and everything else. It comes to civil rights and human rights. I will say this: historically, when you look at the past presidents, they have everything in line when it comes to other groups of people. Immigration policies on lock, LGBT community policies on lock, everything else on lock, everything else taken care of. But when it comes to black people, because we're specifically talking about black people, what we're going to do for black people, he seems to switch, talking about, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that. I understand you want to obey the law, and you should obey the law. But when it comes to why is it that this is part of the reason why some of the detractors disagree with Joe Biden is, why is it that when it comes to black people, you don't want to do anything, or you have all these excuses, executive orders and this and that, You have to narrow it down, and you have to, we put you in power. So because we put you in power, you should owe your constituents, meaning us, basically specific type of laws and specific type of things, that are policies that needs to be passed. I'm saying you don't want to do executive orders and everything else. You want to obey the law. I agree with you, obey the law. But you should, like you said, fight harder when it comes to your constituents, when it comes to people who put you in power.
I echo those sentiments, Daniel, because I think it's like this. It politically and morally, it benefits, because I think if you don't, the Democrats have control over the entire government for the next year and a half. If you don't get anything major legislation passed for black people, you will lose it. You will lose potentially the House and the Senate. And then you're going to be complaining about, well, we can't get this done because we don't have full control of government. So I think what you did, I saw the president do his first night in office, what he did with executive orders, that proves that you have to fight hard to get these things done, because you don't know how long you're going to have a Democratic controlled government.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't afford to mess up. You don't have much wiggle room.
Mm-hmm.
You got to fight hard and you got to try hard. And also, too, where I like what you said, when you said past presidents have always said, well, they gave into LGBT immigrants and other groups, but black people have always got the back burner. But I think this time it has to change, because what the civil rights leaders was telling the president, well, then president-elect, but the president, black people, specifically black women, are responsible for you being in the White House right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you owe it to them to get this legislation passed. You owe it to them to get them what they need. And you have no choice, because they put you in there. They donated money to your campaign. So this is all on you.
Yep.
You have to get it done.
And if you don't get it done, if you don't get it done, then, well, there's going to be, consequences in terms of politically that, hey, listen, you might lose a good portion of your constituents because they're putting you in charge, and you have control over the House and the Senate, and you have the majority control. So you should theoretically be able to and possibly get things passed with your full control. You can't be like, oh, well, we don't have control. No, you have a year and a half to get whatever you need to get done. And there should be no excuses. I, for one, and many others that agree with me, are kind of tired that black people have been put on the back burner for so long and taken for granted in terms of our votes, in terms of policies, in terms of everything. This reminds me of back during the 1960s when racism was at an all-time high. You had Dr. King going to President John F. Kennedy and then Lyndon B. Johnson, telling them about, hey, listen, we have concerns about voting rights and everything else, and we're being harassed and everything else, and the states are denying us the right to vote. All these politicians at first, if you remember correctly, they did not take it seriously. They said, oh, we have other problems to deal with. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. And sometimes, and Dr. King had to force their hand in order to get things done. And to show them that, hey, we do matter and you can't just ignore us. So with going back to the president, with Joe Biden and everything else, now that we put you in power, black people, because it was black votes, and specifically black women who put you in power, now that we put you in power, we expect and demand certain policies to be passed. If things do not get passed, then, well, like I said before, you might lose a majority of your constituents, because we are tired of being taken for granted with our vote and with policies. What are your thoughts on that, Tyler?
And also, I want to piggyback on something that I was thinking about. 20 or 30 years ago, the United States, they was fighting, I guess, against apartheid. And there was senators that objected to that, and it was a big, crazy debate. And they were saying that blacks needed to be free from apartheid in Africa. And they fought hard. And one of those senators that was fighting like hell was Senator Joe Biden. I think if you fight hard like that for black people in Africa, you need to fight hard like that for black people in America.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that will cement your legacy as the president. I think also, too, your constituents, if they see you fighting hard, they'll fight hard for you. And make sure your people stay in power.
Well, I agree with that.
Because I think the problem with black people don't want to vote, and I've heard from lots of them, they say because a lot of them think their votes don't matter. A lot of them also, they feel that why am I voting? They're taking us for granted. To prove that you're not taking their votes for granted, you need to fight hard to get the stuff they need passed. We need these legislations passed. And like I said too, you need to, even if you can't get the filibuster done, eliminated, you need to fight like hell to get it eliminated. That's what we want to know. We want to know you're going to be out there fighting for us.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to hear you just talking. We want you to put in action. We know you had that fight in you because I seen you in the 90s do it with apartheid.
Yep. So
it's time to get to work for the black people, Mr. President.
Yep. I was gonna say the same thing, Mr. Tyler. It's time to get Joe Biden. We put you in power. You talk the talk. Now it's time to walk the walk. This is Dab Daniel. This is the Black Evolution. We are signing off. Join us next time for another episode. Be evolutionary. Revolutions die, but the evolution never dies. I'm close on that. We out.